Hey, this is Stacia, and tonight I played an online tournament game as part of the Tuesday Tussle, my favorite online tournament. So I faced my old coach again tonight. Um, old slash current coach, Jim Anteline, a strong player. At his peak, he was over 2,000, and well, he's texting me right now about the game. Okay, so well, you probably saw yesterday that I analyzed a game that we played when I was white back in November. Well, here's the actual game after preparing. So let's see what happened. Wow, he just paid me a compliment. Okay. But let's go ahead and look at the game. Does it look right on your screen? It does. Okay. Here we go. So D4 Exclam. One thing about Jim Anteline is that he prepares for me. So, and he's way better in the openings than I am, to be honest. He knows a lot more lines, he knows the ideas, he knows the plans, and he knows more theory in general. And I know a decent amount, but not like him. In fact, he's the one that guides me in my opening choices. And so I opened with D4 because very well he had something in store for me after E4, and we played D4 back in November, and I'm like, well, let's try this again. Okay, he went D5, and so far we're following the last game. So this is a Catalan, and in that game, I played queen to A4 check. He went knight C6, I believe, and then I took the pawn. And well, that is how I used to play the Catalan. Now you can play this way, but you're not going to really have an advantage because after you do this, black basically goes A6, they're going to go B5, whoops, B5, kick your queen back, bishop B7, and black is going to untangle fairly quickly. Usually the knight's actually on this square instead, so that C5 happens. And then once C5 happens, white's actually kind of worse. I mean, you could say that it's just an equalist position, it's anybody's game, but it actually does score kind of well for black. But that is the line I used to play for whatever reason. All right, and but in this game, I decided to be a little bit more ambitious and play bishop to G2. Hey, I mean, you guys know how I am. I just don't feel right unless I'm sacrificing a pawn. So, hey, he can keep this if he wants. Okay, so A6, and he's saying maybe I will keep it. But it's very risky for black to do that. Like if B5 immediately, I could play knight E5, and there would be a discovery on the rook from the bishop on G2. So, black has to be careful. So I castled, and I was already making it up. Okay, knight to C6 he played. He probably knows this line a little bit. I do not. And I played this move, which I thought probably isn't theory. I'm blocking my bishop, but I'm threatening to regain the pawn. So I just wanted to see how he might deal with this. Also, I thought, if he tries this move, I think I would just take here, and probably that's just fine. But he played bishop to E7. Wow, so maybe the computer wants that. I wonder if it does. Let's see. Really doubt it wants B5. B5. It could, though. So let's see. I guess black really can play B5. It looks so, it looks very risky, okay, because, I mean, knight E5 jumps to my attention right away, because if you take the knight, I take your rook. So that can't be good. I guess it is, though. Computer says queen takes. And I guess black's just fine with sacking the exchange. We could go I mean, it says knight to e4. Knight to e4. A4 also a move. Okay. Well, that's pretty interesting, but I'm just saying, you know, you don't want to weaken this diagonal like this in general. Even if the bishop banquetos, the bishop's undefended. So I don't know. You don't see that usually. So he played bishop to e7. I think he was just like, hey, I'm going to just play normal. And, you know, if Stacia wants to collect the pawn back, she's welcome to do that. So that is what I did. I take c4. Okay, let's analyze without the engine again. He castled, and now, well, here in the game, I wasn't exactly sure what to do. I mean, I guess if I had my way, if I really had my way, I think I would go b3, bishop b2, knight e5, e4, queen e2, rook d1. That is like my dream to accomplish. Like, especially if you get e4, that's generally good to create the strong pawn center. But I wasn't seeing it, and I went with the move e3. So let's see what the computer says about that move. Okay, I'm happy to see it is one of the top choices. The other top choices are a3 and b3. And well, okay, I'm glad to see that. Yeah, I just thought I better protect this pawn because it looked like it was loose in a lot of lines. So let's protect it. Rook b8, I don't really understand, other than he probably just wanted to get off the diagonal. So, well, I guess I do understand it. I mean, if he doesn't play rook to b8, then how is he ever going to play b5? You know, because the knight would be pinned to the rook, the bishop be pinned to the rook. Like, I don't know. It just looks like you can't really get the queen side developed. So let's see what the computer wanted. It wants queen e8. Yeah, it's kind of a hard move to play, I think, because it still blocks in this rook. So I don't know about that move, but oh, rook b8 is second on the list. So okay, rook b8's a move. I played b3. It's probably not the best. Let's see, should I play a3 here? Yeah, I thought a3 might be better. It is. a3 with the idea of going b4. But I thought, why waste time? Let's get my bishop, you know, developed. Okay, so b5 as expected. Notice that the knight is hanging here. And I played knight to e5. So I don't know if this was the right way to do this or not, because he doesn't have to take, if he takes this way, I mean, that's just silly, right? Why would you do that? So he can't do that. He probably has to take the knight, which is what happened in the game. I also calculated this move just in case, because it looks like a desperado. But if he did this, I thought kind of the same thing. I take, he takes, I go here. Something like that. So let's see what the engine says about my move. Oh, it likes it. Knight f to e5 is like the top move. I like it. Okay, yeah, and I mean, it's desirable. The reason being, you open up the bishop, you know, so if you can open up the bishop, then, you know, that justifies playing like this. He did take. I think that's the only move. I took back. So my knight's now out of danger. And then bishop to e7. Okay, so here I really started getting the sense that maybe I had something, like something to work for here. Because, you know, I would love to land the knight onto c6, but I'd love to put anything on c6 and create a wedge so that black will never play c5. c5 is black's like freeing break move. So if I am successful in plugging up that c6 square, then white must be better. So I came up with this idea: take the bishop and then sink the knight in. It attacks the queen and the bishop. The queen did move, and now I do have the option to take that bishop. And I actually decided that I probably should do that. But I could play queen c2 first. Because if queen c2 first, like, what can black really do? Like, they don't have a lot of appealing moves. So I played queen c2. Okay, now they're threatening to take the knight. So I better do something. So I took, and plus I saw this idea, a4. Okay, I figured it probably wasn't correct. But it does have a threat, so I'm looking to skewer him. Now, he could actually block with b4, but that does mean that he can't take. If he takes, then this works. So I kind of liked the idea of pushing this when he cannot take it. Wow, computer does not like it though. Okay, so let's go back just for a second. I want to see if right here, if there's anything better, because I felt like there might be. So computer says bishop takes b7. Okay, then what? Yeah, knight c6. Also likes knight to d3, which I didn't consider. Also likes queen to c2 first. But all of these moves are kind of like equalish. Well, they're all better for white. They're all +1 for white, let me put it that way. Okay, let's continue with the game. Okay, right here, it does say to take the bishop, so I'm glad to see that. But a4 is not the move, so I'm going to turn off the engine. Let's figure out how should white continue here. So my thought during the game was, I don't want to allow c5, but seems like maybe I don't have a choice. I kind of wanted to play a4, but probably I shouldn't because, well, it's a cheapo. I mean, I'm saying like, oh, if you take, I'll do this, but black does not have to take. They can ignore it. If I take here, I think they could take with a rook, and the rook would be bearing down on my weak b pawn. So, you know, black's not in trouble after a4. Black has some pleasant options. Now, maybe I should just devote my bishop, because if you look at black's position, they're pretty much coordinated. The only thing, I mean, the rook's kind of misplaced. This rook is not in the center yet, and the c-pawn has not gotten to c5 yet. But basically, the black position looks pretty fine for the most part, except for this, I guess, and that. The white position looks good. The pawn structure's actually not conducive to this bishop, since it's all in dark squares. And the bishop is disconnecting the rooks at the moment, so the bishop needs to develop. So that was part of why I played this move, because I'm like, well, I'm going to develop my bishop. So maybe I should do that immediately. Let's see what the computer says. Yeah, it says bishop to d2. Yeah. Also, rook d1, and even e4 is on the map, which I did think about. But it does weaken this pawn, which is the reason I wasn't excited to play it. Okay. So I played this. The rook came over to c8. So black wants to break with c5. You know, that's pretty apparent. I cannot play b4. So here I would like to play bishop a3, but if I do that, black will play b4, I think. So yeah, let's just look. Yeah, b4. The engine agrees, and I have to just fall back, and I don't know that that development is any good for me. I think black could still play c5. So instead I took. Turns out this is the correct way to play. Now I expected rook takes. I thought rook takes is the way to go. Rook takes, and look, my b pawn is isolated and weak and attacked. So I thought that looked pleasant. Now I could take here though. So I did see this during the game. I guess the position's equal according to the computer. Oh yeah, I saw this line, and what I didn't like about it is, you know, I can't double immediately because my bishop. So, whoa. I thought I took the pawn. I did not. I played bishop b2 right here. Okay. Not the best move, but it's fine. And finally, c5. Okay, I'm turning off the engine. Now, here's where the game changed a little bit, and we'll see if this was correct or not. So here I took on c5. Now, or wait, did I? No, I did not. I took on b5 first. Very important. Okay, very important. Let's see if that's what actually happened. Yeah. So I took that way, expecting rook takes. Computer totally agrees that the rook needs to take, but he took with a pawn. So you can see the engine hates it. But the reason is I can now take here, which I did, and guess what? Now I'm sure his plan was rook takes, but in this position now that the A file is open, I have check. So what to do, right? I think the knight would have to block, but then I could take the knight, and after queen takes, the queen's not defending the rook anymore, and I could take that too. And I think black is, or I think white's just winning now. We won material. So let's see what the engine says. Yep, it agrees with my eval. Let's see if it agrees with d takes c5. Yeah, it says it's winning. Cool, that is what I thought during the game. Because if I can take this pawn for free, and then especially if I get b4 in, then white's got to be a lot better, you know? So the other thing black could try is this, but I did calculate this as well. I think here I could just take, because now if the rook takes, now I check, you know, and that's not going to work, that's not going to work, and that's not going to work. So black is going to get mated. So it just turns out that after d takes c5, black cannot take back. Now, I didn't see that until c5 was played. I'll be honest with you guys. I did see that the pawn would be pinned. I saw that at least. But I did not see that black could not take back until they played c5. Actually, I think I saw it before I took on b5 though. Yeah, when black played c5, that's when I figured it out. Okay. So now white is better. Queen there, but what else? Yeah, he thought a long time, like almost 15 minutes. But I can understand why, because I wasn't sure what black should do either. I thought maybe black should try this move. Just to annoy me, like say, hey, you're not gonna protect your pawn. I wonder what the engine's gonna say. The engine says knight to e8. Like, who would play that move? Knight to e8. Well, I guess that stops any back rank business. Another move it likes is rook b to b8. Pulling back. Interesting. Okay, but he played here. So I don't know if this is the best move, but when all your pawns are on dark squares like mine are, and your opponent has a knight that can maybe come and invade on these squares. I don't think we want that. So my bad bishop should be traded for the good knight. That was my feeling. So let's see what the computer says. Yep, look at that. Bishop takes f6, best move. So my friend's calling me, so we're going to have to wrap this up. Bishop takes f6 here. And I thought b4. Yep, b4 is correct. Okay. So I'm basically winning now. I mean, of course, it's not easy to convert, but I'm going to show you the rest of the game pretty quickly. I just tried to, I mean, for once, I wasn't in time pressure, so I was able to kind of take my time. So I attacked this. I guess the computer doesn't like it, but I'm still +3. Okay, I kind of took my time here. Check. Okay, now that's pinned. So my idea was h5 and queen g6 check, if I could get that in. And I did get it in. So this must be good for me, I thought. Now here, I actually was like, wait a minute. I can't really check anymore because this is covered. And this isn't a check, and you know, black's ready to check my king. I can't block because my queen's on the dark square, so I don't know about taking that pawn now. I think in hindsight I would take here or just check again. Yeah, I really wanted to do this, this, and this, and checkmate on g7. That was what I really wanted to do. So I actually had a little trouble here because I'm like, I can't really get out of these checks. So I played f3. I hated playing this move, but wow, it is the computer top move. So I'm actually happy to see that, because if I don't play f3, how do I win? He'll check me forever. And the nice thing is that after I get checked here, my queen defends e3. So this should be fine. And if he ever takes this, I think I play either queen f6 or queen g5 check, followed by h6. Yeah, so now my king's looking better. So I checked. Now once again, I checked here. Maybe I shouldn't have checked there. Oh yeah, check this out. He has a threat here, actually. I thought if, like, let's say I make a nothing move like this or something to get the pawn. He has queen h1 check, and if I go here, he has rook g8. I did see it though. So I actually moved my queen first. But now, again, I want to play this move. But if I do that, check here, and I think he maybe can take that. I'm not sure. So I didn't want that to happen, so I did this one. Okay. And yeah, I wanted to get my king safe. Again, like if I play here, he checks me and it's a skewer on my pawn. I want to use that pawn to checkmate, so I didn't like that. So I moved my king. And here his clock actually ran out. So I think maybe that was a resignation, because it does look hard to find a move. I was constantly watching for what the queen could do. And maybe I'm better at that than I used to be, which I'm happy to see too. Yeah, and the computer says mate in 10, so. So there you go. Pretty happy with this game. Let's just go ahead and review some key moments, okay? I'll use the Lee Chess version. Learn from your mistakes. Okay, actually I want to do my own variations because it skipped a lot of the interesting parts. Okay, so it was a Catalan, and I played bishop g2, a new move for me. Actually, this was my old move. Then someone told me I should play queen a4 check, so I started doing that. But now I'm going to play this again because I'm willing to gambit pawns. I understand those variations. I'm actually more comfortable with that than playing normally, which sounds funny, but That's the benefit of playing King's Gambit for 2 years. All right, so a6, castles. Okay, so this is my first move that I made on my own, was knight b to d2, just saying, hey, I'm going to take your pawn. And if you want to play b5, good luck. All right, so he didn't do that. Turns out, you know, he should do that, but there would be complications. It would be sharp, no doubt. Okay, e3, rook b8. Okay, I love this move, knight e5. That was accurate. And this was also fairly good. So white has an advantage. So I got an advantage out of the opening. Taking that was correct. And yeah, okay, so this move was a little bit, it's a low rated player move. It's like, hey, I'm going to make a threat, and if you don't deal with it right, you lose. But, you know, I shouldn't play that way against strong players. But that being said, the move was fine. Yeah, and here is where the game turned. I realized that I could take on c5, and he actually cannot take back as long as I take on b5 first. So takes, takes, takes. He cannot take back, like we were saying, because rook a8 check. And if the knight blocks, takes, takes, here. So yay, I'm a little bit better at tactics than I used to be, because I do see this stuff. Can't take with the queen either, so he played here. And then from here, trading off that knight was very important. That actually made it more of a winning position, and then playing b4. Okay, and from here it was just a matter of converting, and I'm pretty happy with how I did that. It could have been smoother, no doubt, but at least I didn't get in time pressure. So, and in fact, won on time is what actually happened. So I hope you guys enjoyed the game. Oh, I'm so sorry. Was the top of the board cut off the whole time? I'm not sure when that happened. Oh, I'm really sorry about that. Okay, well, hopefully it wasn't doing that too long, and because I'll probably post it anyway. I'm very busy. I know that's weird to say because I work in chess, but I'm extremely busy. So, you know, anytime I play chess or study chess, you know, probably about more than half the time I take you guys with me. So I hope you enjoyed this, and well, I'll see you next time. Okay, bye.